Hey y'all, this is Deb, and I am here to show you a a couple of journals, three in fact, that I have made for a swap. And you know me, I like to do things differently and be creative and not do the same old, same old. So I am going to show you these ideas that I came up with. So I typically swap, I only have one swap partner. Her name is Tami, and we have swapped numerous times, and she makes fabulous journals, let me tell you. And I can't compare, but like I say, I try and be creative and do something different, and she's my guinea pig. So I'm going to share with you the three journals that I have made for Tami. I am not going to put this up until after I've already sent it, until she's received the box with the journals in it. I want her to see it first, and then I'll upload this video. And then I also wanted to say that our theme was mini journals. So they needed to be mini, M-I-N-I. Mini journals, small, and our restrictions were 6 by 6. I think they had to be 6 by 6 or smaller. So, and obviously, as you'll see by mine, they're I think this is 3 by 4, and this one's even smaller than that. So let's start with this one. This has a cover that I made in the slow stitch style. So this first one is a mixed media journal, and never done mixed media before. So again, as I stated, Tami is my guinea pig, and so yeah, this is how it turned out. So here we go. Let's take a look at it. So it has a big old wooden button on there. So it opens up like this, and it's not fastened on there. It's loose like this. I made the pages out of watercolor paper. I've never done that before. I've never done any mixed media before, so this is my first time at doing mixed media. And so I just used a bunch of stuff that I had been collecting, like this Chiquita banana thing. This is a label out of a piece of clothing. Made a taggy kind of deal. So anyway, that's the front page. There really isn't a cover because all the pages are basically the same. So I had an inspiration. You know me, I like inspirations, and my inspiration was a Stampington. My friend Laura gave me lots of different card books, or card magazines, I should say, and other magazines. And this was in the inspiration was in a Stampington book. So my inspiration didn't look anything like these, but it kind of sparked my imagination, is what I'm trying to say. So there's this page and this page. And as you can see, I used stamping and different, that's a ribbon, or not a ribbon, trim. This was also a label, clothing label. Oops, I was going to put something there, didn't do it. So there you go. All kinds of things that I've been collecting. This is just kind of a loose thing, just to give it a crinkle and a different, you know, kind of texture. So one of the things that I did in this book was I made almost all, now like this one, no, but almost every stamp in here is my own stamp that I made. I actually bought stamp rubber, the blanks, and a carving set, and I carved my own stamps, and this is one of those. So you'll see other ones, and there's another one back behind here. It's kind of hard to tell. Here was another one of my stamps. that I created. I used some of those color pops or whatever you call them on that. There's a tag. Here's another one of my stamps that I created. This was a stamp, and this was a stamp too. Oh, and this and the drops. So those are all my stamps. I used a Stabilo pencil and those white Sharpie markers. This is one of my stamps. I've got it tied here. I've just got holes punched, and I've got it tied with muslin. This came out of of course I live in the Nashville area, and so Nashville's going to be celebrating Elvis's birthday, and I got that out of our newspaper. And this behind there, that's also one of my stamps. Kind of hard to tell when you know, mixed media is a lot of layers. This is one of my stamps. This is like the end of an envelope. I put that in there. And this was my stamp. So you can see from the edge, the muslin, and all I did was just tie it. So that's this one. And it goes back on like this. All this sewing was done with my handwork on this part. There is stitching on the papers, and that was done by machine. Okay. Then there was this one. This is a ball jar journal. Oh, and I thought, what, you know, because you see, you know, these journalers, and they make these really awesome rolls, what they call it, snippet rolls, and all this different stuff. And I'm like, what if I made a snippet roll, but it was a journal? So that's what this is. So this, whereas this one was mixed media and kind of, I don't know, industrial or whatever you call that. This one is more of a, like a, what do I want to say? A 30s, you know, and a vintage, more of a vintage, yeah, more of a vintage style. So again, it has a button, and this button is vintage from probably the 40s or 50s. And then it is sewn to this, to the roll. And when you open it up, so it has, this is the writing space. Not a lot, but it is a journal. And so the outside, what this is a piece of cutter quilt that I cut into a strip. And then I have done decorative slow stitching, different things on there. Like this, with buttons and different fabric and trim. Then on the inside, which was blank, I added a collage fabric collage. And buttons, all vintage buttons, all vintage trim. Look at that little bunny. Isn't that little bunny cute? This happens to be feed sack, and there are several other. This is also feed sack. So I did use quite a few feed sack pieces, and then some more modern fabric. Some of this, like this one, is the Kathy Holtz, or Holden, Kathy Holden fabric line. It's like vintage flea market or something. I forget what it's called. Anyway, so I made this one, and then I thought, okay, but I wanted to, look at that cute little button. Is that not the cutest? I wanted to present it in some kind of a container. My mind was kind of containery when I was making these for Tami, and so I'm thinking, what could I put this in? So if it's like, you know, if it's like vintage fabric with feed sack and quilts and things like that, what would be a good container, or you know, an appropriate container for that time period? And I thought, what about a ball jar? So that's where the ball jar came in. So this is a ball jar journal, and it can be kept right here in the ball jar. So I thought that was really cute. Then again, because I still had all this container stuff on my brain, now this one's going to be tricky, I'll tell you, because I made this one and I made 4 signatures. Oh girl, let me tell you, there is no way. I'm lucky I got 2 signatures in here. But my daughter made a whole lot of these curly flowers, and so I put that on the cover. I got the box from Amazon, and this is what it looks like on the inside. So here's a little note to her that I told her that good luck getting this dude out. Oh boy, and here I am fixing to take it out and then trying to put it back in. Yikes. So I have trimmed this down. Look at that. That wasn't too bad. I have trimmed it down. I have changed the ribbon. I did have lace. The lace was too thick. Then I went to a thin lace, and it wasn't strong enough to pull it out. I finally went to this, which is very pretty. I really like this, and I like the shimmery shine to it. And it's kind of slickety, so that when I put it in and out, it does slide in easier. But so the covers to this one are made. I made a collage, a collage board, and I think I used file folder. I think I used a file folder, and I made a collage board, and so I cut it up to make these little. So as I said, you know, I made 4. And yeah, only 2 of them fit. I don't know what I was thinking. So here's the first one. And it's kind of got a, you know, a vintage, like a real junk journal flavor. And so it does have writing space. Here's a couple of tags inside this little belly band. So it has basically everything that a big journal has, but it's just smaller in scale. And like I said, I cut this dude down a number of times to get it to fit in here. And some vintage papers. This one's stuck. Oh boy. Or wait, no it isn't. Sorry. Whew, I was fixing to pull that off and I didn't want to. It's a I did use some printables. And so this is a belly band. Or not a belly band, a side tuck. Don't pay any attention to me. And so this is the center of the first signature. And you can see that all I did was I just punched holes and I just tied it. It's that simple. Isn't that cute? Turned out so dang cute. And again, all different kinds of layers. Here's a little side pocket that's got, or no, it's a belly band that's got a pocket in it. And I made it out of paper, book print. And then it's got something back behind of it, which can't get out. I'll tell you what, there is just as much work in a small book, a small quilt, a small doll, whatever it is there is in a big one. So sometimes more, because you got to come up with, you know, creative ways for a challenge. So what else is in here? Turning the pages is tricky. From an old Sears Roebuck, which actually, you'd be amazed. Tami is so incredibly, not only is she talented and gifted, but she's generous, because she has provided me with so much really good stuff. And my goal has been, because her swap has already arrived to me, and I made up my mind, I'm not going to look at it until after I get all my plans done, because then I'm going to think, oh no, and I'm going to want to throw it all out. And because I mean, her stuff is just so fabulous. So I have learned so much from her. I am very blessed that I got to be friends with her at the very beginning of my journaling journey. My journaling journey. And so, you know, just the same old typical stuff, belly bands and etc. Now, the way they are together is with a hinge. So, because I knew that this was going to be hard pulling it in and out, so this is it's a piece of watercolor paper, which is thick, and then it has the muslin over the top of it, so that it's nice and sturdy. And then, of course, you can't see it because of the ribbons, you know, unless you pull them apart. And then it just looks white. So this is the second signature. And there's a belly band I need to fill. Isn't it funny how you go through and you think, oh, I'm all done, and then there's one more thing. And you think, I'm all done, and then there's one more thing. This was this printable set came from, wait, let me think a second here. But it's Kelly's Crafts on Etsy, and she has got the best printables. And in this case, they're called like French vintage elements, or ephemera, or something like that. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love all those papers. I am crazy. I'll tell you, I am crazy for printables. They are just, we are so lucky that we have people who are creative enough to come up with printables. And that's part of that printable. So this one has a completely different flavor to it, and that's what I wanted it to look like, was a more typical vintage, or a junk journal. But on a small scale, with just little scripts and scraps of all kinds of things. This is just a piece of muslin that I just stamped on. Oh, I could see I could probably trim that paper down You can see how much I've trimmed. Probably ought to trim that paper down a little bit. Make it easier to get that in and out. There we go. Might be a little better. So there is writing space in this. Isn't that beautiful paper? It looks like wallpaper. It's so beautiful. Kelly's Crafts on Etsy. So that's this, and it is tied with this silky. Now this is the seam binding tape, the Snug Hug, or Hug Snug, whatever it is. That's what that is. Pull it nice and tight so I can get that dude in there good. And then make it into just a knot. Just a square knot, you know, right over left, left over right, that kind of a deal. And then it slides right inside of here, like this. I don't know if I, oops, hang on. I'm going to put this in here. Slide this in here. And then this is going to go to Tami. I need to put a label on the back of that. So anyway, I wanted to take a picture or take a video of these that I have made for Tami before I sent them off to her. And that way I could share them with you. You know, never can tell when you might be inspired to do something different with your own journals. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. And I know it's been a long time since I've been on here. But, you know, I do all kinds of things, as I've told you in the past. And so I keep myself busy because that keeps me out of trouble. Anyway, this is Deb. I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you later. Bye.